Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments. We'll talk about it after the show. Right now, I guess we'll just get into the show. It's an evening edition, so I'm having I guess you'd call it adult beverage, although I really think I haven't drank many of these since I was a wee punk. But there was some in the fridge, so I'm throwing one down. It's going to be fun. Zesty Enterprise. The show today is a continuation, a part 2 of what we did last time. We were talking about analog nectar, about doing nectar without having all the Gugas and Giga tools, or doing a lot of the, more stuff that would make it more complicated, and how you can do that and make this more of an art than a science maybe, but still apply scientific principles to it. And it got a little long, and so I cut it off. But I was watching that question today when I was looking for more topics. I'm like, man, we really should show a little more of this. So part 2, watch part 1 of the previous video if you haven't, and watch this clip. I think you'll find it interesting. I'd like you to watch it, and I'll talk to you after. Is alkalinity and dealing with that ever a opportunity if it's not a problem? I mean, it's either a problem or it's not. But if it's not a problem, can it be an opportunity, or is this always something where I'm just trying to fix dry water or not?
Yeah, the problem with that is a lot of people wanted to run out by Chimera because it's a
they think,
enhancer.
oh shit.
It's like, no, it's actually a pH adjuster for bad water or bad soil situations. So if you have no problems and things are fine, your pH in your soil 6.6 every time you do it.
Nothing to be mind here.
Yeah, don't worry about what's happening. Your alkalinity is not an issue. It's now how to feed them more aggressively.
Sure.
But if your pH is always dumping on you, then you have an alkalinity issue. You don't have enough. If your pH is always climbing in flower in the soil, that means your water is too alkaline, and we got to figure out how to react that or reduce the alkalinity in the water so that it doesn't deposit so much of the carbonate in the soil, which then affects the pH that will ultimately go up. So I guess back to the question is,
well, alkalinity
our Herc flush.
Well, alkalinity you're going to see because it's going to start falling away from you as you get.
Yeah, either high or low. I mean, if your plant starts to discolor and you check your slurry and your pH is way too high, you have too much alkalinity in your regular water, so we got to figure out how to react that. Or if it's way too low, your water is stealing it from the soil and making your pH low.
Okay.
The question is, since I don't have those meters to take a slurry test, he's got our test. I mean, he's got our litmus, so he knows that it's mid-6s, things are fine, but I don't know the parts per million. Do I still use a Herculean flush in the days if I don't know? And it's to kind of clarify that, and our feed flush, feed T, that whole method really it's a preventative flush, meaning you don't have any problems. Yeah. There's no real issues. It's just instead of going feed T, feed water,
reset.
Feed T. It's just saying feed. We're going to kind of clean up what's left over and get rid of the excess with the preventative flush. 10 to 15 mils per gallon is ample. Then go right back to feed. But that little flush day isn't a corrective. It's not. It's just to kind of reset that root zone so we keep the balance of leftover nutrition, leftover salts, leftovers kind of being pushed down below the root zone so that the plants can then accept the next 2 rounds of feeding.
So we can keep pushing and nutriting in the way we want to without building up something that we don't see coming.
Yeah.
But if you could get a ppm on there, it would be nice, but if you don't, you certainly should be following a feed flush situation.
It doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
And then now if you get to a feed and you're looking at your plants and they're just noticeably hungry, because I've got a lot of these guys with LEDs where they're 2 times feeding some of these different recipes and just barely keeping that 300 parts per million in the soil. Those guys don't really have that luxury of doing a feed flush, because if you do the flush at 300, now you're at 200. Yeah. And the plants are now not being able to access any of the reserves in the soil. So you really don't want to keep doing the preventative flushes if your plants are yellowing or there's discoloration or there's something wrong. That's when knowing your ppms isn't a good idea, because you'll get a sense of, am I overfed? Am I underfed? And a lot of times too, pH is driving that number. So if your plants are discolored and your pH is 5.5, we figured it out. If your plants are discolored and your pH in your soil is 7.4, we figured it out. We just have to adjust our pH in our feeds until we get that soil pH corrected.
if I've got some Holy Diver Jesus LEDs, though, and I'm tripling up on my feed, I probably have a PPM meter.
Oh, I would hope so.
So that, yeah,
want the money on the lighting than buy the meter.
But if you're just trying to grow 4 in the backyard, then
or 2 in the
flush,
closet.
Yeah,
most likely you probably don't have the 4x8 LED panel that's running at 68% on a VPD of 92.
Your meter needs new bearings in it on the yard. Okay. Okay, what do you think of that? Informative, entertaining, helpful? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you got any questions for the viewer questions episode, I've been talking with Scott, and we're going to work real hard on doing one a week, making that more the show, and this being just the little clips that go along with the show. So, think of some good questions. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.